I was on this patrol, acting as a top cover machine gunner for the recovery mechanics. They drove these 32-ton recovery trucks as part of the force protection element for the convoys. If the proverbial shit hit the fan, these recce mechs went to clear it up. Their job was to repair or recover any vehicle that broke down or was damaged by enemy action. My job was to cover their backs from the vehicle's cupola, armed with a belt-fed general-purpose machine gun. The recovery mechanics knew the greatest danger we faced only too well. It was a year since one of their own had been killed in Helmand by an IED, an improvised explosive device. 2 weeks before our deployment to Helmand, the inquest into craftsman Andrew Found's death stated he was killed by one of 3 bombs an army minesweeper had failed to detect. They attributed the mine detection failure to the Taliban's progression from rudimentary to sophisticated warfare. The 27-year-old recce mech, a husband and father of 2, died while he was trying to rescue another vehicle which had been hit by another blast. Andrew Found was killed in the Upper Gereshk Valley. Our patrol on the 21st of June 2012 was to the Lower Gereshk Valley. The mission to escort a logistics convoy from Camp Bastion to forward operating base Shortcut in Nadi Ali, and to get back again when we were done. We'd arrived in Camp Bastion in April 2012, and our 21st of June patrol started there too. After exiting the base, we joined Highway 1 heading east. Our planned route, after a brief stop at a base near the highway, was to turn south and skirt the green zone until we could pick up a secure route along the main irrigation canal road. Using that canal road, we could get to within a mile or so of Fob Shortcut before having to enter the green zone proper. Shortcut must be worth a video on its own. In the heart of Nadi Ali district, it was a small British outpost within an Afghan village. And within that British outpost were the remnants of a fort reputedly used by an invading British army during the Second Anglo-Afghan War of 1878 to 1880. The irony was not lost, only added to because I'd already read IED detectors kept finding metal buttons in the shallow graves of the British redcoat soldiers who'd been here before us. But in June 2012 I wasn't thinking about that. My mind was focused on one thing: doing my job. These photos show the patrol leaving our first waypoint before continuing east on Highway 1 a while longer. These Afghan bases were spaced every few kilometres alongside the major routes used by NATO forces. One of their tasks was to stop the Taliban planting IEDs in the drainage culverts running below the roads. The barbed wire enshrouded entrance to a culvert can be seen in the foreground here. These bases looked incredibly vulnerable to me, isolated, lightly ill-equipped and probably manned by unpaid soldiers, unpaid due to the corruption of their commanders. The easy access to the base from the road and the flimsy-looking entrance gate struck me as being very vulnerable too. That vulnerability was confirmed by this Taliban drone video of a suicide attack on the police headquarters of Nawa district in Helmand in October 2016. I took this photo 20 seconds after I'd taken the last photo of the Afghan army base. It shows a farmer distracted by something behind him, and above him another man half hidden behind a high wall. He looked to be holding and using a mobile phone to me, someone the British Army would describe as a dicker. Taliban lookouts reporting our patrols' location and activity, or maybe even waiting to trigger an IED via his mobile phone when he saw a NATO vehicle in the target area. Or maybe he was just an innocent Afghan civilian curious about the convoy of foreign soldiers driving through his village. These are the conundrums of fighting a counterinsurgency, when you can't distinguish your enemy from the civilian population. We'd been warned of potential shoot and scoot attacks from the far side of the canal, so I was keeping a very close eye on the traffic over there. I remember being nervous seeing these two men on a motorcycle, clearly carrying something between them. It wasn't until they were parallel with our vehicle that I saw what that something was: a young child. It was a stark reminder of the environment we were operating in. Someone else's home, surrounded by civilians. But, as a soldier in a hostile environment, it was my job to suspect everyone, and to be prepared to use lethal force should any threat materialise. It was a very strange situation for me, but not being suspicious of everyone had cost other soldiers their lives. It was only luck that saved me from that same fate, because I was a very inexperienced soldier.